Don't get me wrong, I love being single and I love living alone. It's great, it's fantastic, but fuck, it's expensive. Ah!
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, the place where we dive into the big questions, the hard truths and the untold stories about life in America. If you are tired of the headlines not telling the full story, you have come to the right place. We are here to talk about the issues that impact your life, like the single tax crisis, how the US government supports its citizens, and what it's really like to live in America today. From personal stories to expert analysis, we bring you the facts and the voices you need to hear. Our mission is simple: to inform, engage, and inspire. Whether it's uncovering hidden truths, exploring the experiences of everyday Americans, or breaking down complex policies, we are here to start conversations that matter. And we want you to be part of the conversation. Share your thoughts, your stories, and your ideas. Together, we can create a community that not only talks about change but pushes for it. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we have got a lot to talk about and we don't want you to miss a thing. Once more, welcome back to the channel. Let's make your voice heard.
I just spent $600 on brakes on my car, just on the front part of the car, because I couldn't afford all four brakes and axles and rotors and whatever the fuck. And then now I just paid my car payment, which is $500, so I just blew $1,100 in like 3 hours, and it wasn't even like fun, you know? Fuck. Sorry, it's just so overwhelming. Like, you work and 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 you work, and it's just to pay off like your basic necessities. And you can't, like, in this city that I live in, public transport, please. If I were to do public transport, it's like asking to get raped, and I really shouldn't be crying because now I have to go to another work event, and now I'm gonna be all puffy. I'm just... Living is so expensive. Just keeping yourself alive and floating is so expensive. And what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted is if I were to take public transport here, especially for my job requires a car. I have to have a bunch of shit that I have to lug with me for work. And I can't do that with public transport. I'm venting. Inflation sucks. Just living in America sucks. Living alone sucks. It's great, but it sucks. Because you have to front all the expenses by yourself. I need a husband just so that I can live. So we can split the bills. Hi guys. I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store. Bought 10 items. And it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account. The fuck? So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews. And still nothing. Like, what the fuck is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
Kelly, I'd like things that apparently in the United States are too much to ask for. Like, I'd like to live in a country where people without medical licenses don't decide what is or isn't acceptable health care for me. I'd also like to live in a country where people every day aren't dying because they don't have enough or because they don't have health insurance at all. What's wonderful to me is going beyond Obamacare and actually giving people the health care that they need to survive without making them pay so much per month for it that they have to choose between whether or not to feed their families or continue to give them health insurance. What sounds like absolute nirvana to me is a country in which people don't have to sell the homes that they've paid on for 30 plus years in order to afford a surgery to save themselves or someone they love's life. Best outcome for healthcare, in my opinion, is if my doctor gets to choose what path they're gonna take for my healthcare needs based solely on my healthcare needs and not what my insurance company might or might not cover. I'd like to live in a country where we don't have to be grateful that insurance companies are no longer allowed to use pre-existing conditions against us to deny us insurance coverage, or that I don't have to fight with an insurance company to get a pap smear or a mammogram. I'm a greedy bitch and I want more. I want what other developed countries have. I want what countries like Israel have. You know, countries that we give billions of dollars to every single year to help them so that they can help their citizens with things like universal health care and paid for college education. The kinds of things that we think that other people in other countries deserve, but that the people in our country don't. Because if we stopped linking people's health insurance to their jobs, then people might find jobs they actually like versus keeping jobs they hate because they have decent health care coverage. Obamacare was what we settled for. The original Affordable Care Act had so many more benefits for Americans in it, but the Republicans cut it and cut it and cut it up until all we had left is what you see as the Affordable Health Care Act now. And every single time a Republican takes turn, they promise that they're going to shred it and dismantle it. Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, in case you didn't know, they're the same thing. Those are not things that are guaranteed to us. That's why there's constantly being votes on whether or not it should go away. There are only 40 countries in the entire world that do not offer universal health care or some kind of universal health care option to all of their citizens. That is because in the majority of the world, health care is considered a human right, and in the United States, it's considered a luxury and something that you should only have if you work hard enough to get it.
I would like to apologize to the Americans, okay? On behalf of each and every foreigner that has ever looked at the US and been like, that looks easy, I could do that. America is easy. I would like to apologize to the Americans. Because, child, America is not easy. As a single woman, as a single foreigner coming on her 10th year of living in this country, child, is not easy. Stay in your home country. As someone who owns property in the US, as someone who has a good job in the US, as someone who started a business in the US, America is not easy. When those bills start hitting you, child, like the bills hit me this morning and I was just like, I'm done. I'm ready to go back home. Put me back on the first flight back to my home country because I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I just can't. Like this morning, I had to pay up to $600 just in tolls and parking tickets and parking violations. Child, I can't just drive my car in this country. I can't just drive my car. That's not enough. And then don't talk about the property taxes. The property taxes are killing me, child. The property taxes, the income taxes, the health insurance. It is expensive to live in America. I don't know how Americans do it. I just don't.
They banned this app before they gave us health care. They banned this app before they figured out what to do with health care. They all got together and they banned this app before they fucking figured out health care!
The American people are struggling and suffering. Bills are too high, rent's too high, food is too high. People are barely living. Suffering, you say? Good, good. What else? There have been very many natural disasters, and many people are homeless and have lost everything. Well, not much we can do about that. But there is an app that they have been using and enjoying called TikTok. They have been enjoying themselves.
Did you say they are enjoying?
Yes.
Who gave them permission to enjoy?
Well,
They need to be
nobody
working.
gave them permission. They just
How did
decided
they
to use
even
the
have
app.
free time? Have we not raised up the prices high enough? Now we need to raise them up even higher so that everybody gets a third job. Because how are these
Yes, of
citizens finding time to enjoy themselves?
Yes.
We did not give them permission. Okay, this is it. Banning the app now.
Of course. Yes.
Alright, let's talk about something that has been on the minds of millions of Americans, the single tax system and how it reflects the broader reality of living in the United States today. It's no secret that taxes in America are a hot button issue. Every paycheck we earn, every product we buy, every piece of property we own, it all comes with a price, and that price often feels overwhelming. Now, before we dive deeper, let's look at the concept of the single tax system. On paper, it was meant to simplify our overly complicated tax codes. In reality, it feels like just another way to take more out of our pockets without giving us much in return. Think about it, roads and bridges are crumbling, public education is struggling, and healthcare costs are still a nightmare for millions. Where is all this money going? Take property taxes for example. In some states, homeowners are paid thousands of dollars annually, but the streets outside their homes are filled with potholes, and their children's schools are severely underfunded. And what about income taxes? We see a chunk of our hard-earned money disappear every payday, only to watch as the government debates whether or not we deserve affordable healthcare or student loan relief. Speaking of healthcare, let's pause here for a second. The US is one of the only developed countries where citizens have to decide between paying their rent or affording life savings medication. Many Americans, even those with insurance, avoid going to the doctor because of outrageous deductibles and copays. Imagine paying into a system your whole life only to face bankruptcy because of a medical emergency. Then there is the cost of living. Rent is skyrocketing across the country, especially in major cities. Wages, however, have not kept up. And let's not forget about inflation, which makes everything, gas, garages, utilities, more expensive. We are being taxed on our income, taxed when we spend, and taxed just for owning basic necessities like a car or a home. It's no wonder so many people feel like they are running on a hamster wheel they will never escape. Now let's address what the government says. Politicians often defend taxes as necessary for funding critical services like infrastructure, national defense, and social programs. But here is the catch. While these services are essential, many of us don't see the benefits firsthand. For example, infrastructure spending often goes toward massive projects in wealthy areas, leaving poorer communities to deal with unsafe roads and collapsing bridges. Meanwhile, the wealthiest individuals and corporations find loopholes to avoid paying their fair share. This isn't just frustrating, it's demoralizing. How can the government justify squeezing every penny out of middle and working class families while billionaires get tax breaks? It sends a clear message: the system isn't built to save everyone equally. This leads us to another critical issue: representation. The United States is supposed to be a democracy, but many Americans feel like their voices hasn't been heard. Politicians promise tax reform during their campaigns, but once they are in office, little seems to change. It's hard not to feel cynical when the people making the rules seem out of touch with the struggles of everyday citizens. And let's talk about those struggles. The rising cost of living isn't just a financial issue, it's an emotional one. Stress about money impacts mental health, relationships, and overall quality of life. People are working longer hours and taking on multiple jobs, but it still doesn't feel like enough. The American dream, the idea that hard work will lead to a comfortable life, feels more like a myth than a reality for many. This brings us to the public reaction. Social media is filled with stories from people sharing how the current system is failing them. You will see tweets like, "I work 60 hours a week and I'm still living paycheck to paycheck," or "Why do I pay taxes when I can't even afford basic healthcare?" This hasn't isolated complaints. They are part of a larger narrative about a system that feels broken. Protests and grassroots movements have also been growing. People are demanding transparency about where their tax dollars are going and calling for reforms that patronize working families over corporate interests. But change is slow, and many feels like they are shouting into a void. So what is the solution? That is the $1,000,000 question, or perhaps the $1,000,000,000 one. Some advocate for progressive tax policy that ensure the wealthy pay their fair share. Others call for universal healthcare and free public college to ease financial burdens on everyday Americans. This idea hasn't radical. There are standard practices in many other countries. But real change requires more than just good ideas. It takes political will, public pressures, and frankly, a lot of time. In the meantime, millions of Americans are left to navigate a system that feels increasingly unsustainable. Living in America today is complicated. It's a place of incredible opportunity, but also of deep inequality. The single tax crisis is just one piece of a much larger puzzle about how the US government cares or doesn't care for its citizens. So what can we do? Start by staying informed and holding leaders accountable. Share your stories, get involved in your community, and don't be afraid to demand better, because at the end of the day, the system only changes if we push for that change. Thanks for tuning in to this discussion. Let's know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the single tax system is fair? What changes would you like to see, and how has the current system impacted your life? Let's keep the conversation going, because this issue affects all of us. Thank you for watching, and let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Let's share our thoughts and perspective with one another. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on this story and more. I will see you in the next video.